Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news. Now folks, if you're a fan of the Commanders, or even if you're just someone who loves the NFL and wants to stay ahead of all the latest moves, this story is one you don't want to miss. Because what's happening right now is potentially one of the most significant changes in the team's recent history. We're talking about a trade that could reshape the backfield, shift the team's strategy for the upcoming season, and maybe even influence their chances of making a deep playoff run. And all of this is centered around a player who has become a key part of Washington's offense, Brian Robinson Jr. Yes, Robinson Jr., who last season proved to be a powerful and reliable force in the ground game, is now at a crossroads. And the team's decision about him might just be one of the most talked about topics among fans and analysts alike. So, let's unpack everything that's happening behind the scenes, what it means for the Commanders, and why the Las Vegas Raiders are suddenly in the spotlight as a potential landing spot for Robinson Jr. First, it's important to understand the context. Last season, the Commanders built their offense around a solid running game, with Brian Robinson Jr. and Jaden Daniels forming a formidable duo. Robinson's power, vision, and ability to grind out tough yards made him a fan favorite and a crucial piece of the puzzle. He rushed for over 200 yards, scored a handful of touchdowns, and established himself as a true RB1 in the making. But now, with the 2025 season approaching, the situation is more complicated. Robinson Jr. is entering the final year of his rookie contract, which naturally puts the front office in a tricky position. Do they extend him? Do they let him test free agency and risk losing him for nothing? Or do they make a bold move, like trading him now to maximize value? The landscape of NFL running backs has been shifting rapidly. The Philadelphia Eagles, rivals of the Commanders, recently extended Saquon Barkley to a 2-year, $41.2 million deal, setting a new market standard for top-tier backs. That deal not only boosts Barkley's value, but also raises the overall price tag for similar players. The Commanders, meanwhile, are dealing with their own contract dilemmas, particularly with star receiver Terry McLaurin, who is also entering a critical phase of his career. The team has to decide whether to prioritize extending McLaurin or to focus on what they can get in return for Robinson Jr. Should they decide to part ways? Given this situation, it's becoming increasingly likely that the Commanders might look to trade Robinson Jr., especially if they can't come to an agreement on a new deal. And surprisingly, the team that seems to make the most sense as a trade partner is the Las Vegas Raiders. Why? Well, the Raiders' running back room is a little thin right now. They've got Ashton Jeanty, a promising young player they drafted, but behind him, there's a lack of depth and proven production. Raheem Mostert and Sincere McCormick are decent options, but they're not exactly the kind of players you want leading your rushing attack week in and week out. The Raiders need a reliable, versatile back, and Brian Robinson Jr., with his power and ability to catch out of the backfield, fits that mold perfectly. Imagine the Raiders bringing in Robinson Jr. to complement Ashton Jeanty. It could be a game-changer for them. Jeanty, who showcased his talent at Boise State, has the potential to be a workhorse back, but he's still unproven at the NFL level. Pairing him with a player like Robinson Jr., a guy who can handle tough yards, bring experience, and add a different dimension to the offense, could give the Raiders a balanced and dangerous rushing attack. It's a classic case of complementing skill sets, and the fact that Robinson Jr. has been successful in a variety of roles makes him an attractive target. But why would the Commanders consider trading him now? Well, for one, Robinson Jr. has shown that he plays better when he's in a complementary role rather than as a workhorse back for every snap. Last season, he demonstrated a knack for finding the end zone and gaining tough yards, but there's also the question of his contract situation. With his rookie deal ending after this season, Washington might prefer to get something in return rather than risk losing him for free next year. Plus, The recent draft adds an interesting layer to the story. The Commanders selected Jackery Krosky-Merritt in the 7th round, a player who is impressing early in training camp and making a case for himself despite being a late-round rookie. Krosky-Merritt, who had a somewhat overlooked college career at Alabama State, showed flashes of brilliance in college, rushing for over 400 yards and scoring 29 touchdowns. Last season, he only played one game due to NCAA eligibility investigation issues, but his talent is undeniable. Early reports from training camp indicate that he's already getting reps with the first team, and offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury is starting to trust him more and more. The hype around Krosky-Merritt may be unusual for a 7th-round rookie, but it's not unheard of for late-round picks to carve out a role if they show enough potential early on. And here's the kicker. The fact that Krosky-Merritt is on a rookie contract makes him a very flexible asset. The Commanders might see him as a potential long-term backup or even a future starter. If that's the case, trading Robinson Jr. becomes even more plausible, especially if they believe Krosky-Merritt can develop into a reliable NFL running back. It's all about roster strategy, cap management, and maximizing value. Now, shifting gears to the Raiders, they're in a position where adding a player like Robinson Jr. could elevate their entire rushing attack. Currently, their options are decent but not elite. Ashton Jeanty showed promise in college, but he's still unproven at the NFL level. Raheem Mostert is a veteran with speed and experience, but he's not a three-down back. Sincere McCormick and Zamir White are more situational. With Robinson Jr., the Raiders could develop a dynamic duo that allows them to rotate effectively, keep their offensive line fresh, and keep defenses guessing. Geno Smith, the Raiders' quarterback, would benefit immensely from having a reliable running back who can catch passes out of the backfield and grind out tough yards in critical situations. Robinson Jr. has shown that he can do both, which makes him a perfect fit for a team looking to diversify its offensive weaponry. The Raiders, known for their aggressive approach to roster building, might see this as a move that could pay off big time in the long run, especially if Robinson Jr. continues to develop his pass-catching skills and proves he's a versatile threat. And let's not forget, the NFL is a league where roster flexibility can make or break a season. The Commanders, with their talented roster, are always looking for ways to tweak and improve, especially when it comes to areas where they see potential for growth. Trading Robinson Jr. now, while his value is high, could be a strategic move to free up cap space or acquire draft picks or additional players that fit their future plans. On the other side, the Raiders are eyeing a potential upgrade in their backfield, and Robinson Jr. fits the bill perfectly. His combination of power and agility, along with his ability to contribute in the passing game, makes him a versatile asset. If this trade happens, it would be a win for both sides. The Commanders get to maximize their assets and potentially build around Krosky-Merritt, while the Raiders add a proven NFL back who can contribute immediately and help push them into the playoff conversation. The big question now is whether the teams can come to an agreement. The Commanders, especially with their current cap situation, might prefer a trade that involves draft picks or players rather than a long-term deal. Meanwhile, the Raiders need to evaluate whether Robinson Jr. fits into their long-term plans and how much they're willing to invest in him. Regardless of how it unfolds, this storyline is something we'll definitely be watching closely. Because it's not just about one player, it's about the division, the playoff picture, and the future of two NFL franchises. And of course, for us, fans of the Commanders, it's a bittersweet feeling. Losing a player like Robinson Jr. would be tough, but if the team gets good value in return and finds a way to build around a promising rookie like Krosky-Merritt, perhaps it's a move that makes sense in the long run. The NFL is all about making tough decisions, and sometimes, trading a rising star can be part of a bigger plan for future success. So, what do you think? Do you believe the Commanders should hold on to Robinson Jr., or is a trade to the Raiders the smartest move? Would Krosky-Merritt be ready to step up if Robinson leaves? And how do you see this impacting Washington's chances this season? These are all questions worth pondering, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, this story is still developing, and as more details come out, we'll be here to keep you updated. The NFL offseason is always full of surprises, and the Commanders are right in the middle of it. So stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't yet, and make sure you're part of this community because we're going to keep bringing you the latest news, analysis, and insights. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Washington Commanders. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Washington Commanders news.